Explain the August Decrees. The August Decrees, also called the Decrees of 4 August 1789, were a series of revolutionary laws passed by the National Constituent Assembly that dramatically dismantled the core institutions of the Ancien Régime. They are best known for the formal abolition of feudalism in France and the sweeping away of noble and clerical privileges. Historical context. By early August 1789, the French Revolution had already seen the storming of the Bastille, 14 July, and the formation of the National Assembly. However, rural France was in turmoil due to the Great Fear, a wave of peasant revolts and panic triggered by rumors of aristocratic plots, food shortages, and brigandage. Peasants attacked chateaux, burned feudal records, terriers, and refused to pay seigneurial dues. Fearing that anarchy would spread and undermine the revolution, liberal nobles and clergy in the assembly proposed dramatic concessions on the night of 4-5 August 1789. What began as a session to address rural unrest turned into an extraordinary outpouring of renunciations. Deputies competed to surrender privileges, creating an atmosphere of patriotic enthusiasm, sometimes described as a night of patriotic delirium. The assembly voted to abolish the feudal system entirely. Over the following days, these promises were formalized into a decree dated 11 August 1789, consisting of roughly 19 articles. Key provisions of the August Decrees. The decrees struck at the heart of the old social order. Here are the most important articles, paraphrased and summarized from contemporary texts. Article 1. The feudal system is completely abolished. Rights and dues originating in or representing personal serfdom or servitude are abolished without any compensation. Other seigneurial dues, such as ground rents or cens, were declared redeemable. Peasants could buy them out at a price to be fixed by the assembly. Article 2. Exclusive rights to maintain pigeon houses and dovecots, fees, are abolished. Pigeons must be confined during planting harvest seasons set by local communities. Article 3. Exclusive hunting rights and the right to maintain unenclosed rabbit warrens are abolished. Landowners may now kill game on their own property, subject to public safety regulations. The king's hunting preserves were an exception. Article 4. All manorial, seigneurial, courts of justice are suppressed without compensation, though existing judges continued until a new judicial system was created. Tithes, the 10% church tax on produce, all tithes of every kind, paid to the church, religious orders, or lay impropriators, are abolished, subject to the assembly providing alternative funding for worship, clergy salaries, poor relief, and church maintenance. This effectively halved much of the church's income. Other major abolitions included venality of offices, the sale of public positions, which had created a hereditary bureaucratic class. Tax privileges and exemptions for the nobility and clergy. Provincial and municipal privileges, special rights of certain regions, towns, or corporations. Personal privileges based on birth, e.g., exclusive rights to certain trades, plural benefices for clergy. Various feudal monopolies and labor services, corvées. The decrees also declared equality before the law and opened all careers to talent regardless of birth. Immediate impact and limitations. The night of 4 August was celebrated as a moment of national unity and self-sacrifice by the privileged orders. In reality, implementation was more complicated. While personal servitudes and humiliating feudal rights ended immediately, many property-based seigneurial dues, the most economically significant ones, were made redeemable rather than free. Peasants were expected to compensate lords at a high rate, often 20-25 times the annual value, which most could not afford. This distinction caused ongoing rural discontent. Many peasants simply stopped paying dues, leading to further unrest. King Louis XVI initially refused to sanction the decrees. He was reluctant to lose royal prerogatives and church support. He only gave reluctant approval in November 1789, after pressure from Paris and the Women's March on Versailles. Full and unconditional abolition of remaining feudal dues without compensation came later, during the more radical phase of the Revolution, especially in 1792, 1793 under the Convention. Significance and legacy. The August Decrees marked a decisive break with the feudal past and laid the foundation for a society based on legal equality, individual property rights, and merit rather than birth. They integrated the peasantry more fully into the revolutionary movement, weakened the economic and social power of the nobility and clergy, paved the way for the declaration of the rights of man and of the citizen, 26 August 1789, which built on the same principles of liberty and equality, transformed France from a society of orders and privileges into one moving toward modern citizenship and contractual relations. Historians often view the decrees as both idealistic and pragmatic, a bold response to the Great Fear that helped stabilize the early revolution while channeling popular anger into legislative reform. Though imperfect in execution, they represented one of the most sweeping social transformations of the entire revolutionary decade and influenced later liberal movements across Europe. In the broader context of the bread crises and subsistence riots, such as the Flower War of 1775 and the 1789 events leading to the Women's March, the August decrees addressed some of the structural inequalities that had fueled popular unrest for decades, even if they did not immediately solve the problem of affordable bread.